Hi guys, welcome to Sudeep Verse. Thank you for such a lovely response for the previous video of Places in News. This video is about the important topics that you need to study or prepare for science and technology as a subject. Okay, so I am going to give you the list of topics and I will for a few topics give you an orientation of how to go about it. But if you have seen the prelims affairs videos of mine, you have understood that if you take a topic, how you have to develop the factual understanding of the topic for prelims. So I hope you have understood what necessary things that you have to see from prelims perspective that will help you in your preparation for the upcoming prelims exam. So with that, let us start off with the important topics for science and technology. The first topic is the planet Venus. Venus is in news because there are a lot of theories that is going on to solve the mystery of how Venus lost its water. Venus is said to have had an ocean almost 3 kilometers deep 4 billion years ago. And today there are several theories that have come to explain why the Venus as a planet has lost all this water. Hence Venus is in news. So understand Venus as a planet. What is the significance within the solar system of Venus? And also understand all the missions that are undertaken for Venus by different space agencies around the world. So that is the first topic that you need to have an eye upon. The second topic that you need to have an eye upon is anendophasia. This is the term that is making news. Now they can ask you what does this term mean itself. So you should have a very keen eye on the scientific terms that are making the news. So I have taken these terms from the last 1 or 1.5 years of the Hindu newspaper. So these are the terms that you are going to be exposed to today. That is taken from the Hindu Science and Technology newspaper. So the next is anendophasia. Now this is a rare condition in people who do not experience an inner voice. When I say they do not experience an inner voice, it doesn't mean that they do not have conscience. They definitely have conscience to decide what is wrong and what is right. It is just that when we think in our mind, they'll not be able to do that. So that is what is known as anendophasia. So research a little bit more on that. One more thing is, any topic that I'm going to tell, you should not research more than 15 to 20 minutes. Go to the genuine websites, collect factual information on these topics that I'm giving you. 15 minutes is maximum on every topic. So if you are done with it, make a short notes on that. You're done with all these topics. There are very high probable topics within this science and technology list that I'm giving you where the questions can come in your prelims exam. So I hope you are serious about it. The third topic is coronal mass ejections. It is making a lot of news. The coronal mass ejections is important even because the Aditya L1 mission was launched, which is also studying this coronal mass ejections. So they are large expulsions of plasma and magnetic field from the sun's corona. So one, you should understand how this coronal mass ejections happen, and the second, you should understand the different zones in the interior of the sun. It can be chromosphere, it can be corona, it can be photosphere. Understand the different zones and understand how coronal mass ejections happen and what is the consequence of such ejections on Earth and other planets. So this is again very important. The next topic is auroras. We have heard the news that auroras was seen even in Ladakh. Correct? So what are these auroras? To just define it to you, they are dazzling display of light seen mostly near the poles. These are caused when solar storms disrupt the Earth's atmosphere. Now, you should understand why it is found only near the poles. What are its effects and consequences? The northern pole, the auroras are called aurora borealis. The southern pole, it is called aurora australis. So such factual information you should have a very good idea upon. So that is the topic. The next topic is NISAR satellite. Okay, again this is making noise or this is making news because NISAR ISRO synthetic aperture radar mission is a joint venture between NASA and ISRO. Okay, and this has a very special imaging, that is, it is a radar imaging satellite that uses dual frequencies. So you should have an idea upon this. So research a little bit about this. What is this NISAR satellite all about? Okay, the next topic is about a roundworm that is making a lot of news. This roundworm's name is Caenorhabditis elegans, that is also called C. elegans. Now it is a roundworm. Now the reason why it is in news is because it is the first multicellular organism to have its full genome sequence done. Okay, now this worm, the speciality that they have found out about this worm is the worm's food habits. whatever food habits that this roundworm develops, the same food habit is inherited by its offsprings. Now that is an finding that is of interest, and the question can come on this. So C. elegans, I have an idea about this C. elegans. Okay. The next topic is Vidal test. Okay. Vidal test is in news. The reason Vidal test is in news is because there is a typhoid problem in India, and there are a lot of debates whether Vidal test is effective enough to identify this typhoid problem in India. So this Vidal test is again in news. So understand Vidal test. One more important thing is you should have a list of diseases that are prevalent in India, and what are the tests that are being done to identify the diseases. One very good example is your tuberculosis, or let us say diabetes. If there is diabetes, there is a test called HbA1c. Like that, write down all the important diseases that are prevalent in India and what are the different tests that are done in order to identify these diseases. Just like Vidal test is in news, it need not always be Vidal test they'll ask. They'll take this context and ask some other diseases. So you should have a very good idea about this. Okay. The next is a very, very important concept. The next topic is elementary particles. Okay. This particle physics is making a lot of news recently. So in particle physics, elementary particle or fundamental particle is a subatomic particle that is not composed of other particles. So it is basically a subatomic particle that is the most simplest. When a subatomic particle is the most simplest, then you call it as elementary particle. Okay. Now, the standard model of physics recognizes 17 particles as elementary particles. These 17 particles can be divided as 12 fermions and 5 bosons. Okay. So the 12 fermions and 5 bosons together makes it up 17 particles. These 17 particles are what we call as elementary particles. Okay. Now, this 12 fermions and 5 bosons are further subdivided into, on the basis of variations, 48 subvariations in fermions and 13 subvariations in bosons. Okay, so the 12 fermions are having variations of 48 and the 5 bosons have variations of around 13. So overall, all in all, there are a total of 61 elementary particles. Okay, if you take only fermions and bosons, there are 17, but if you take the overall variations within the fermions and bosons, there are 61 elementary particles. Okay, so just Google the table, you will see the fermions, you will see the bosons. Now inside the fermions, there are a lot of names that keeps coming up in the news. For example, you might have heard quarks, you might have heard leptons. Okay, so these quarks and leptons are nothing but fermions. Okay, or you might have heard Higgs, you might have heard gluons. These Higgs and gluons are example of bosons. At the end of the day, these fermions and bosons, they're different types, are nothing but elementary particles. So when these elementary particles, I told you, they are subatomic and they cannot be broken down further. They are the simplest subatomic particles. When these two subatomic particles come together, the simplest elementary subatomic particles, when they come together, they are called hadrons. Okay, and the hadrons example is protons and neutrons. As you know, protons and neutrons are present inside an atom, and these fermions and bosons together will make up the protons and neutrons, and when these elementary particles come together, they are what you call as hadrons. The example is protons and neutrons. So I hope you understood what are elementary particles. Very, very important, because it is particle physics is in use. It is an emerging science. It is also creating a lot of emerging technologies. Hence, you should have a very good idea about this elementary particles. The next topic is Aditya L1 mission. Okay. Now, Aditya L1 mission has been in news. So definitely a question will come. Now, whenever a question, you know that the question will definitely come, UPSC will always go in depth. Okay, when UPSC knows that everyone is going to prepare on Aditya L1 mission, UPSC will try to take out facts that no one would have observed. Okay, so when you also know that such dominant topic is going to come for our prelims, you should also take that effort to search genuine websites to remove the factual information. So when I say Aditya L1 mission, 1, you should know what are Lagrange points. 2, you should know what is an halo orbit. 3, you should know which Lagrange point is Aditya mission placed. And this L1, the Lagrange point, where does it exactly come within the Earth and Sun interface? How many total Lagrange points are there? And what is the main objective of Aditya L1 mission? What are the payloads inside the Aditya L1 mission? These are the information that you have to collect and keep. What is the distance from Earth that Aditya L1 mission is placed? See, such factual information should be, noted down from you, because such topics will definitely come and UPSC will always ask the depth of that particular topic. Whenever the topic is very common, UPSC will go depth. Whenever the topic is very rare, it will always be superficial information. So know this and prepare wisely on that particular basis. So Aditya L1 mission is the next topic that you should be preparing for. Okay. The next is another very good, achievement by ISRO. That is what we call as PSLV Orbital Experimental Mission. PSLV Orbital Experimental Module 3. This is what you call as POEM3 mission. Now, this was a submission inside something called EXPOSAT mission. Okay, I'll come back to the EXPOSAT mission next. But this POEM3, that is nothing but PSLV Orbital Experimental Module 3, is experimenting within the orbit itself. That module, instead of becoming a waste, instead of it becoming a debris in the space, it will not become a debris. What it will do is, this particular module that gets detaches from the rocket after the launch of the satellite, that detached part itself will act as a module where experiments can take place. So this POEM3 mission is significant because it allows ISRO to move towards zero orbital debris mission. That is the first step of significance of this POEM3 mission. Hence, understand what is POEM3 mission in depth by going into the ISRO website. Okay, as I told you, this POEM3 mission was a submission that was launched in a broader mission called EXPOSAT mission. So the next topic itself is EXPOSAT mission. What is EXPOSAT mission? The full form of this is X-ray polarimeter satellite. Okay, now the reason why this X-ray polarimeter satellite is important is because it studies, the X-rays in polarized form. Whenever I say any electromagnetic spectrum is studied in polarized form, you try to study it in a single plane. Okay, because the electromagnetic waves move in different directions in different spectrum as well as in different planes. You try to confine the electromagnetic spectrum to a single plane and then study that particular electromagnetic wave, and this is what is known as polarized study. So that is what this EXPOSAT is going to do. So the EXPOSAT, as the name suggests, is an X-ray polarimeter satellite. Now this will try to study the X-ray in its polarized form. What is the reason for studying X-ray in its polarized form is, it helps us understand black holes, neutron stars and magnetars. That is why it is very important. Okay, so understand what is this X-ray, what is this EXPOSAT, understand the electromagnetic spectrum, understand what is black hole, what is neutron star and what is magnetars. The question can come on even these terms. So EXPOSAT is again very important. The next topic that you should have an idea about is antihistamines and antibiotics. As you know, there is a fast trend of developing resistance because of the exploitative use of antibiotics. So have a good idea about antibiotics and other things that are there in use in the context of antibiotics, and antihistamines are also in use. Okay, because India has that culture of self-prescription, these antihistamines are making news. What are antihistamines? They are common drugs that can be purchased without any prescriptions. They are basically used to use short-term allergic reactions. So this also is in use because of the rapid misuse of this antihistamines. So antihistamines and antibiotics are very important. I have some notes done factually on this particular topic. The next is Mpox. There was a global outbreak of Mpox in 2022-23. Okay, there was a global outbreak on this. This Mpox previously was known as monkeypox, but it is no more called monkeypox. It is just called Mpox. Okay, it is a DNA virus. Okay, a virus can be of two types. It can be of DNA, it can be of RNA. At the end of the day, a virus is just a nucleic acid. Okay, a virus is not a living entity. It is not a non-living entity. It is somewhat in between living and non-living. It is just a nucleic acid. That nucleic acid can be DNA also, RNA also. This virus will get activated only when it goes to a host cell. Yes or no? So this Mpox is a DNA virus. Okay, and in this Mpox, the reason why I am talking about this Mpox is because there is a concept called genomic accordion. Understand and learn what is the concept of genomic accordion. genomic accordion is a very significant characteristic for means of evolution. That is, within its genome or within its gene pool, there is an ability to shrink and expand depending upon the traits that it wants to inherit or it wants to expel. Okay, now that is what is known as genomic accordion. I know that I'll not have time to explain you in very simple words, but that is something that you have to do. So the concept of genomic accordion is very important from the mpox context. The mpox has this ability, so learn what is this genomic accordion. Okay, the next is Geroscience has been in use. Okay, we know that by 2050 in India, the senior citizens are going to rise almost to 20%. So by 2050, 1/5 of India's population will be senior citizens. So hence, Geroscience has always been in use of late. Now within this Geroscience, two terms are making a lot of noise or a lot of news. The one term is frailty syndrome. Okay, frailty syndrome is one. The second is sarcopenia. Okay, so learn what is this frailty syndrome, what is this sarcopenia, and if there is any other terms regarding Geroscience. What is Geroscience? Geroscience is focused on biology of aging. Everyone wants to live long. Everyone are now focused on improving their longevity. That is why this nutrition, that is why this fitness is now trending. The reason is because Geroscience is now the emerging part in biology. Okay, so in that, frailty syndrome and sarcopenia is making news. Also within the nutritions, learn about different vitamins which are fat soluble, which are water soluble. Okay, learn them and also learn what vitamin deficiency will cause what type of problems. This is very important. This is all a part of Geroscience. So have a very good idea, make a table, spend at least 15 to 20 minutes here. You are going to get one question on this Geroscience. Please make sure do not neglect this. Okay, the next topic is Dragon Egg Nebula. Okay, so there is a lot of news telling that scientists have unraveled the mystery of Dragon Egg Nebula. Okay, know what this Dragon Egg Nebula is and where it is. Now, Dragon Egg Nebula, what do you mean by nebula? A nebula means it is a cloud of gas and dust, and this cloud of gas and dust is surrounding two stars. So they are known as binary stars. Okay, so Dragon Egg Nebula is nothing but a cloud of gas and dust that is surrounding two stars. Now, what is the puzzle? The puzzle is this binary star, that is the two stars, one star has magnetic field. Okay, just like Earth, one star has magnetic field, another star does not have magnetic field. Now, this is the puzzle. So, there is a news that scientists have unraveled this mystery of the Dragon Egg Nebula. So, understand this, collect some information on this. Okay, the next topic is India's Pratyush mission. Okay, what is this India's Pratyush? This Pratyush is a radio telescope. Okay, the full form of this Pratyush is probing reionization of the universe using signal from hydrogen. Okay, so probing reionization of the universe using signal from hydrogen is the full form of Pratyush. Okay, now what you should understand is, one, it is a radio telescope. Okay, the next is this radio telescope is to be established on the moon, and in the moon also it is to be established on the far side of the moon. That is one. The next is, what is the objective of this? The objective of this is to understand the cosmic microwave background, that is known as CMB. What is CMB? CMB is the oldest light in the universe. Okay, why is this important? Is because we are able to understand the dark ages of the universe. Now, what is dark ages of the universe? This dark ages is the period between the initial scattering of the cosmic microwave background and the birth of a new star. So that oldest light in the universe, that is CMB, and birth of a new star, this period between that oldest flash and the birth of a star, this age is known as dark ages. So the Pratyush mission, the main objective is to understand the cosmic microwave background, which is the oldest light in the universe, which will help us also understand the dark ages of the universe, which is the period between the CMB and the formation or born of a star. So these are some terms that you should understand. As you know, space is something that UPSC likes. So there will be a lot of question on space. So you should have an idea about these terms. They need not always ask on Pratyush itself. They can ask you about the CMB, or they can ask you about what is the dark ages of the universe. Okay. The next is again a concept of genetics, that is Punnett square. Now this Punnett square is a square diagram. Now this square diagram will provide all possible outcomes for a genetic cross between two individuals. Okay, I'll again say it looks like a it's a square diagram. In this square diagram, it is going to give all possible outcomes of a genetic cross between two individuals of known genotypes. This is what is known as Punnett square. Okay, the next topic. So learn a little bit about this Punnett square, and if there is any terms that is regarding biotechnology, please have a very good idea about it. Okay, again, biotechnology is a very focused area of UPSC. Any new or emerging thing that has happened in biotechnology, UPSC will always ask. The next topic is also about that. The next topic is sickle cell anemia and gene editing technology. So there was recently news that they were able to cure the sickle cell anemia using gene editing technology. So now it becomes very pertinent that you learn what is the sickle cell anemia, why does this happen, is this a genetic disorder? After that, learn what is this gene editing technology. What is this CRISPR? What is this Cas9? Which is known as genetic scissors, which acts as a protein. All this information that you should collect, that will be very important from your prelims perspective. So the topic is sickle cell anemia, and that is that is cured with the help of gene editing technology. This has already happened. They are able to cure sickle cell anemia with the help of gene editing technology. That itself is an achievement. So there will be a question that comes on this. So be very, very wary of that. Okay. The next is the Chandrayaan-3 mission. As you know, the ISRO is a favorite go-to for UPSC questions. So please make sure that learn Chandrayaan-3 again. Don't think that Chandrayaan-3 was very, very back. It happened very late, or it has happened in the very past of the before the last 1 year. Don't think like that. Chandrayaan-3 is important. So please make sure that you learn every factual information regarding Chandrayaan-3. Okay, please don't neglect that. One more thing about ISRO that you should learn is another vehicle called Pushpak. Okay, this Pushpak is known as reusable landing vehicle experiment. Okay, this reusable landing vehicle experiment will reduce the cost of launch missions and will also reduce the debris in space. So this Pushpak mission is very, very important. So understand what is this Pushpak vehicle of ISRO. Okay, so this is something that is again important from the space perspective. Okay, one more thing that you should understand from the space perspective is learn about asteroid dimorphos. Okay, apart from dimorphos, also understand different asteroids. Also learn about different missions that are being sent to the asteroids. Understand what exactly and where exactly is asteroids. Okay, the next is why asteroid dimorphos is in news. One, let me just explain what it is. It is a natural satellite or a moon of a star. It is a natural satellite or a moon near an Earth asteroid called Didymos. Near the Earth, there is an asteroid called Didymos, and in that asteroid Didymos, this asteroid Dimorphos is the moon of Didymos. Okay, it is a natural satellite or a moon of a near Earth asteroid called Didymos. Okay, now this is important because there is a mission that is launched by NASA called DART. Okay, DART is what? DART is Double Asteroid Redirection Test. So it is basically you are sending a particular technology to redirect the asteroid. So if there is an incoming asteroid towards Earth, you should be prepared to make sure that you have some technology to redirect that particular asteroid away from Earth. So this is the main objective of DART mission of NASA. That is the Double Asteroid Redirection Test. Okay, so this DART mission is being subjected to this asteroid Dimorphos. Now, there is also one more mission like this from European Space Agency. Let me know what this is in the comment section. Okay. However, again, what is an asteroid? What are the different missions that are sent to an asteroid? What is this DART mission of NASA? And what is another mission that is on the same lines of DART mission from European Space Agency? These are some things that you should learn from the prelims perspective. Okay. The next is alpha geometry. That is again a term that is making a lot of news. Alpha geometry is nothing but Alpha is a parent company of Google. So this parent company of Google has come up with something called alpha geometry, and the term is deep mind program of Google regarding artificial intelligence. Okay, the deep mind program of Google regarding artificial intelligence is what you call as alpha geometry. So I hope you understood what is alpha geometry. They can ask you this as a term in news, and they can ask you the context of it. Okay, so this is about alpha geometry. Let us look at the next issue. The next topic is nuclear waste. The reason why nuclear waste is in news is because there is a recent report that is brought by the International Panel on Fissile Materials. And this report talks in length about the management of nuclear waste. It also talks about nuclear waste management in India. So nuclear waste is in news. So it is necessary that you learn properly about International Atomic Energy Agency, the types of management of nuclear waste, different institutions that are there in India that are responsible for the management of nuclear energy, mining of uranium, as well as management of nuclear waste. So you should have a very good idea about the Indian regulatory system of nuclear energy and nuclear waste, and learn also about this International Panel on Fissile Material. What is this institution? What does it do? What are the different reports that it brings out? This is very important. Nuclear energy is also one of the favorites of UPSC, so you should have a very good idea. So this is about the nuclear waste. The next topic is Mission Divyastra. Mission Divyastra talks about Agni 5 missile. Now equipping this Agni 5 missile with a technology called MIRV. What is MIRV? That is multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicle. This MIRV technology is integrated into Agni 5 missile, and this is what is Mission Divyastra. Now, along with Divyastra, you should understand the different missiles of India and their capabilities. Again, that is very important. So Agni, it can be the series of Agni missiles, or it can be other missiles that are there within our inventory. So learn the missiles of India properly. This is very important. The next topic is Samudrayan. Okay, Samudrayan is a deep ocean mission. Okay, now its objective is to set out an expedition to reach the deep ocean of the depth of 6,000 meters or 6 kilometers. So that is not some easy feat. That is very ambitious. So to achieve this 6,000 meters in depth of deep ocean, they have created something called Matsya 6000. This is a submersible vehicle that is going to take a crew of 3 members to go there 6,000 meters deep into the deep ocean. Okay, hence this mission is important. Now, along with this mission, what is important is you should also understand the deep ocean minerals. Have a good idea about polymetallic nodules. Okay, India has got the permission to mine this polymetallic nodules in the central Indian Ocean basin. And who gives this permission? It is International Seabed Authority. Okay, so Samudrayan mission, deep ocean mission, the deep sea minerals like polymetallic nodules, learning about the International Seabed Authority, and one more thing is learn properly about UN clause, that is United Nations Convention on the Law of Sea. This also becomes very important. They have already asked one question in the previous years talking about territorial sea. Okay, they can ask you again, and this time they can ask you about contiguous zone, about exclusive economic zone, or they can ask you also about ICES treaty. That ICES treaty has been making a lot of news, so also understand that ICES treaty, this ICES treaty also comes under UN clause. So this is something that you should have a very good idea about. Okay, so this is how, if you take a topic, you have to see all the peripherals that can come in the exam from prelims perspective. So I hope you are getting an idea. Don't spend more than 15 to 20 minutes. Just go to the genuine website, see what information that you can get, and just write it down. 15 minutes on every topic is more than enough. If you do that, that means that these are high probable topics where it can appear in the exam. And even if 3 to 4 questions come in the exam, and if you can ace it, then you have got the differential compared to all the other students. This is what I am aiming for. This is why I am giving you the most probable topics in science and technology. Okay, most of the students, what they do is they randomly read books, they randomly read all the compiled materials instead of selectively searching for those favorite areas of UPSC where the questions can come. Okay, anyways, the next topic that is very, very important is Gaganyaan mission. Gaganyaan mission is important, so learn the nitty-gritties of it. Alright, ISRO is again a favorite area. So if you take the Gaganyaan mission, what all things that you should know? I will give you a glimpse of little things of what you should know from prelims perspective. For example, what is the altitude where the satellite or this Gaganyaan mission is aiming for? How many people are going to that particular Gaganyaan mission? Where is it going to land back in this Gaganyaan mission? These are something that factual information that you should know. For instance, if I tell you Gaganyaan mission, you should at least at the back of your head know that it is a demonstration of human spaceflight capability by launching a crew of 3 members to an orbit of 400 kilometers for a 3-day mission and bring them back safely by landing in Indian sea waters. Now see here, the factual information is Indian sea waters, 400 kilometer orbit, 3 members for 3 days. So these are the factual information that you should learn. Also, there are a few submissions in Gaganyaan mission, like you have the integrated airdrop test, you have the pad abort test, you have the test vehicle flights. So these are some submissions inside Gaganyaan. So how do I know about this? Is go to the website and learn. Just 10 to 15 minutes, just write down what is all the factual information in Gaganyaan mission. You're done. Okay. Don't rely on any material. Just spend 15 minutes going to the genuine website. You'll be done. So this is about Gaganyaan mission. Again, it is very important. So you should have a very good idea. Okay. The next one more space mission that is in news is SLIM spacecraft. Okay. This SLIM spacecraft is a lunar mission sent by Japan. Okay. What is the full form of SLIM? It is Smart Lander for Investigating Moon. Okay. Now, why is it in news? Is because this is the second attempt by Japan at soft landing on the moon. Okay. We are done using Chandrayaan-3. So the Japan is again doing it in its second attempt and it's trying to land a soft land on the moon. Why is it special? Is because it is having a precision technology that is aiming to touch down within 100 meters of its target site. Whatever target that it has, it is trying to, or it is aiming to land within the 100 meters of the target site. This is very, very precise, and this is because of they have an integrated precision technology in this satellite. Hence, it is very special. They are trying to land over Shinoli crater in the equatorial region. Okay, when we launched the Chandrayaan-3 mission, it was on the southern side of the lunar mission, whereas SLIM spacecraft is launching on the equatorial side of, or the equatorial region of the moon, that is known as Shinoli crater. See, these are the factual information that matters. This is how UPSC plays. It doesn't take some obscene news to ask you. It will take a common and most heard news, but the information that it will ask requires you to have that extra depth. How will you get that extra depth is by going to the genuine website and learning this factual information. Okay, so this is something that you should again learn. Okay, so this is the space mission. The next important project is the 10,000 genome project. This is again very important. You should again know what are genotypes, what are phenotypes, what is gene pool, all these things. I also told you in the previous topic that there is a concept called genomic accordion. Okay, so all these are something that you should know from prelims perspective. These are basics. Now, 10,000 genome project, the reason it is in news is it is completed. What is this 10,000 genome project? It is analysis of 10,000 individuals of different ethnic diversity or ethnic groups in India. Okay, you're trying to understand the genome of the different ethnic groups. That will help us understand the disease nature in the Indian population. For example, there will be few ethnic groups that are more susceptible to certain diseases. There will be few ethnic groups that are vulnerable to some other diseases. Why is this happening and how to customize the way we diagnose and treat this disease will be helpful by using this 10,000 genome project. Hence, it becomes very important. So learn about this project. Along with this, you should also know that the first in the world, the first genome project was completed in 2003, and in India, a genome project was completed in 2009. So learn about them as well. So biotechnology is very, very important. Whatever happens, you should have a very good idea about it. All right. The next topic is NASA Deep Space Network. Okay. The reason why it is in news is because NASA Deep Space Network has turned 60. Hence, it is in news. What is this Deep Space Network? It is mainly to do with communication. It is a worldwide network of spacecraft communication. Now, the ground facilities for this deep space network is in 3 regions. Okay, it is in California in USA, it is in Madrid in Spain, and it is in Canberra in Australia. These are the 3 places where the ground facilities are. Okay, and this will not only help in deep space research, but will also help in radio astronomy. Okay, again, these are some factual information that you should know. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is not only to know about NASA Deep Space Network, but you should also learn about what is the meaning of deep space, what are the different missions sent by different space agencies around the world for deep space. Okay, and any terminologies regarding deep space, whatever is there I've discussed, but just do a 15-minute search on this. So this is something that you should do on your own to develop the depth in these common topics. Okay, this is the important one. Next, the next topic is again a very interesting keyword. The interesting keyword is DEAL, vertical migration. Okay, DIEL, DEAL, vertical migration. What is this? This mainly happens in marine ecosystem in oceans. Now, what is this migration? This is DEAL vertical migration. This DEAL vertical migration is the movement of zooplanktons from the bottom to the top, okay, for the need of food and to avoid predators, especially during the night times. Okay, let me just rephrase it in a proper formal way. Now, DEAL vertical migration is basically the need of the zooplanktons to migrate to the top in search of food and to avoid predators. Okay, and this happens mainly during the night times. This is what is known as DEAL vertical migration. Okay, so here, just by knowing what is DEAL vertical migration is not enough. Understand the marine food chain. When I say the marine food chain, you should know what are planktons, what are phytoplanktons, what are the examples of phytoplanktons, what are zooplanktons, what are the examples of zooplanktons, what are nectons, what are sea mammals, what are amphibians. You should have a list of 5 names there so that they can give you in a list which of the following are considered as phytoplanktons, and they can give you 4 names. So at least develop 5 examples. By developing 5 examples, you will be able to eliminate things and come up with the answer. You don't have to need the exactness or exhaustive list. You just have to have 5 names that will help you deduce the answer there. Okay, so develop a list of examples of phytoplanktons, zooplanktons, nectons, benthic organisms, amphibians. Okay, develop these 5 names, and if the questions come, it will be easier for you. Okay, and this is what is known as DEAL vertical migration. So I hope you understood this. Okay, along with this, the next topic that is making a lot of news is piezoelectricity. Okay, this is a very interesting topic. This is very important with the emerging technologies moving towards sustainable and renewable energy. Piezoelectricity is one such mechanism. What is piezoelectricity? It is a process of using crystals to convert mechanical energy to electrical energy. Okay, the ability of certain minerals to generate an electric charge in response to applied mechanical stress. Okay, there is a mineral called quartz. Okay, this quartz is the most famous piezoelectrical crystal. Now, what am I telling? When I apply stress, that stress gets converted into electrical energy. This is what is known as piezoelectricity. Okay, now why is it in use? Is because we are applying stress in a lot of places and that stress is going waste. What if we can assimilate and we can use that stress to convert it into electrical energy? For example, in Japan, they have done a experiment where in a footpath they have laid a carpet with crystals. Okay, that crystals, whenever a person keeps walking on that carpet, that crystal will undergo mechanical stress. When it undergoes mechanical stress, it generates electricity. Now see, when you do this carpet kind of a setup in a railway station or a metro, imagine that the mechanical stress, how much energy that it can generate. This is why it is in use. One more reason why it is in use is because we are constantly using smartphones. We are constantly touching the smart screens. What if that screen is piezoelectric? The mechanical stress that we put on the phone will automatically convert into electrical energy that itself can charge the smartphone. These are myriad variations of applications that are possible because of piezoelectricity. Hence, piezoelectricity is in use. Understand this properly. Now, piezoelectricity is working both the ways. I told you, when a crystal absorbs the mechanical stress, it converts into electrical energy, and it can work vice versa also. That is, through electrical energy, you can provide the mechanical stress. So both the direction piezoelectricity works. Mechanical stress converted to electrical energy. Electrical energy can induce mechanical stress. Both the ways piezoelectricity works. So I hope you understood what is piezoelectricity. Learn what it is. Learn any relevant keywords. Learn the applications of this. That is very important. Okay. The next is the keyword called Langland's program. So they can ask you just what is this Langland's program that is recently in news. It is the world's biggest math project. Okay, it is an objective of finding a deep link between 2 areas of mathematics. One is number theory and another is harmonic analysis. Such keywords you don't have to do in-depth research, just know what that meaning is. What is Langland's program? Okay, it is finding a deep link between the 2 areas of maths, number theory and harmonic analysis. It is the world's biggest math project. So hence it is in news, so you should understand this. The next, one more is a keyword that you should know, that is known as fractals. Okay, fractals is again important. Fractals is a class of complex geometrical shapes. Now, geometrical shapes can be simple, they can be very complex. Now, this class of complex geometrical shapes are given the name fractals. That is a separate segment within the geometry that is known as fractal geometry. Okay, now why is it in news is because this fractal geometry is increasingly becoming important as it is becoming a new way to study quantum systems. Quantum computing, quantum communication, and quantum mechanics or quantum physics. Very important, any term. We just discussed elementary physics, right? Elementary particles. That is also part of quantum physics. So quantum is very, very important, and fractals is nothing but a class of complex geometrical shapes that is used as a new way to study quantum systems. Hence it is in news. So understand the keyword called fractals. They can just ask you what are fractals. The next is quantum dots. Okay, recently 2023 the Nobel Prize in Chemistry went to this concept called quantum dots. Okay, these quantum dots are nothing but nanoparticles that are made from semiconducting materials. Okay, now they are used in LED screens, they are used in lasers, and more importantly they are used in quantum computing. And because Nobel Prize has been won in chemistry in this quantum dots, there are high chances they will ask you not about who won them, but they can ask you about this concept called quantum dots. But there is no harm in you learning who has got the award as well. That can also be asked. It has never been asked, but they can go on asking who has won this award as well. Okay, so learn the names of who has won as well, because since award has made a comeback in UPSC exams, there are very high chances that they can ask on that also. Okay, anyways, so quantum dots are nanoparticles that are made of semiconducting materials which are very helpful in LEDs, lasers, and quantum communication or quantum computing. So this is about quantum dots. The next concept is also a concept that has won Nobel Prize in physics, and the concept name is Attosecond physics. Okay, in short it is also known as attophysics. Okay, attosecond is 10 to the power minus 18 of a second. Look at such short span of time. Okay, that is what attosecond deals with. So what does it deal? It basically deals with the light matter interaction. How the light will interact with the matter, that is the main job of this attosecond physics. So this interaction is taken at such a short duration of time that it helps us understand the processes that happens inside an atom. Okay, now the short pulse of the light, okay, the attosecond, that is the short pulse of a light, is used to capture and to study the processes that happens inside this atom. That is the job of this attosecond physics. Again, learn a little bit about attosecond physics and any keyword that deals with this. However, this has been in news because of the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2023 that has gone to attophysics. Okay, the next concept is Kármán line. Okay, Kármán line is in news. It is an imaginary line that demarcates the atmosphere of the Earth from space. It is the line from where the space begins and the Earth's atmosphere ends. So it is an imaginary line, okay? And this line is 100 kilometers above the sea level from Earth. So up to 100 kilometers from the sea level is considered as the Earth's atmosphere, and from that line, the imaginary line at 100 kilometers is where the Kármán line is, and from there the space begins. This is what is known as Kármán line, okay? The next concept that is in news is phonotaxis. Now, what is this phonotaxis? It is first sound and then motion. That is, there are many organisms that move in response to sound. It can be crickets, it can be moths, it can be frogs. These are all, ones that have phonotaxis. That is, they always respond to sound. Okay. Now, the reason I'm telling you is they can ask you about this keyword, or they can ask you which of the following animals have the feature of phonotaxis. That can also be the question. So have a list of few examples and understand this concept. The next is the keyword called micellar water. This micellar water has been coming in news because of the rapid rise in cosmetic industry. What is micellar water? Micellar water is nothing but a skincare product that can help hydrate and clean the skin. So before you apply the cosmetics, they are using this micellar water to make sure that it cleans the skin properly. So this is something that has been in news. There was previously a question that was asked about toiletries in the UPSC. So they can ask you even this. They can take the question of anything that is making a lot of news, and micellar water is making it. So please make sure that you have a very good idea. Okay. The next topic is black hole. We have seen in length about different space missions. We have also seen some concepts like cosmic microwave background, and we have seen dark ages of the space. And one other concept within the black hole are the two important keywords. One is ergosphere, another is event horizon. Okay. Now, if you see the picture of any black hole, there will always be a black color, and surrounding this black color, there will be a light that rotates around it. Okay. Now, what is event horizon and what is ergosphere? You should understand them very carefully. They can give you in statement, they can interchange them and ask you. Okay. Event horizon is a boundary around a black hole where the escape velocity exceeds the speed of light, making it impossible for anything, including the light, to escape. Okay. So that is what is known as event horizon. Ergosphere is a region outside the event horizon where the space-time continuum is dragged along the rotating black hole. Okay. So I hope you understood what is event horizon and what is ergosphere. Okay. Go see the pictures to get a good idea about it. The next concept that is important is alkali metals. Okay. Alkali metals, especially lithium, is making a lot of news. Hence, you should know about the alkali metals. Obviously, you should know about lithium also, where lithium is available in India. What are the different rare earth elements, and what is rare earth element, as well as where rare earth elements are available in India. A few places across India where rare earth elements are very famous. Okay, you should have an idea about this. Coming back to the topic called alkali metals. Alkali metals include 6 elements. What are the 6 elements? That is again important. Lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium and francium. Okay, I'll repeat again: lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium and francium. These are the 6 elements that make up the alkali metals. They are called alkali metals because the reaction with water will form alkalis. In other words, they form strong bases, okay, in water, and they will neutralize acids. That is why they are called alkali metals. Okay, they are very reactive, they are electropositive, and they are monovalent metals. Okay, what this is, you should have an understanding about. If you don't have it, is not an issue. Just understand alkali metals and what exactly are their important features. I've tried to give the important features. One, they are a group of 6 elements. Okay, when put in acidic solution, they have the ability to neutralize them and make them bases, and they are very reactive, electropositive and monovalent metals. Obviously, I don't have time to explain in detail about them, but have an idea about this for now to know the factual information to help you deduce the answers there. This is about alkali metals. The next concept is a keyword called obelisks. Okay, obelisks is told as the third unusual life form. It is called the third unusual life form. That means, what are the 2 unusual life forms that we already know? This obelisk was recently discovered in the gut and oral of living organisms. So now this obelisk is now categorized as the third unusual life form after viruses and viroids. Okay, so now you have 3 unusual life forms: viruses, viroids and obelisks. Why are they called unusual life forms? Is because these are the life forms that come between the living and non-living. Okay, you have the living and non-living, and in between this there is a gray area where these 3 type of life forms come, that is viruses, viroids and obelisks. Okay, now why are they coming in between the living and non-living? Is they are nothing but nucleic acids. They are DNA or RNA. Okay, now they will come to life only if they get attached to a host. Until they get attached to a host, they are considered non-living, but the moment they get attached to the host, they become living. They try to replicate themselves, correct? So that is why they are an unusual life form. So you should have a very good idea what is a virus, what is a viroid, and what is this obelisk. This is a new finding. Okay, as I told you in the beginning of the video also, virus is something that can be a RNA or a DNA, but it has a protein coating around it, whereas viroids are only RNAs which will not have any protein coating, and obelisks are very similar to viroids. They also are RNA. Okay, so you should understand what is the difference between viruses, viroids and obelisks. So I just given you a glimpse of what they are, but try to research for 10 to 15 minutes and understand the difference between what are these 3 unusual life forms. Or they can also give you a question like obelisk recently in use is seen in which context. So I hope you understood what is this obelisks. Okay, the next concept is astrosat. The reason why astrosat is in use is because it discovered a black hole system called SWIFT, and it also uncovered it did not discover the black hole, it uncovered a chaotic X-ray rhythm that comes from this black hole called Swift. Okay, so because it is in news, AstroSat becomes very important. It is the first space-based observatory of India. Now, where is it placed? What is the altitude? What is the spectrum in which the astronomy takes place is something that you have to collect. Okay. Now, one thing I want to make it clear is this is a space-based observatory that observes the space in the spectrum from visible to UV as well as X-rays. The reason why I'm telling you this is X-rays. AstroSat can observe the space from the spectrum of X-rays. Now, there was one more space mission that we discussed called XPOSat, X polarimeter satellite, that is also going to observe the space in the spectrum of X-rays, but it is going to observe the X-rays in polarized form. Whereas this is going to observe the X-rays in its normal form. That's the difference that you should know. This is the clarity that you should have. That will come only by revising the same number of material. Anyways, have a very good idea about what is AstroSat, what are its important functions, what are the different spectrums that it will conduct the astronomy. So this is again very, very important. Okay. The next important concept is the three terms that you should understand. What is ultradian rhythm? What is circadian rhythm, and what is infradian rhythm? Okay, they can give you, for example, they can give you heart rate, pulse rate, menstrual cycle, and they can also say sleep cycle. Okay, they can give you 4 options: heart rate, pulse rate, menstrual cycle, and sleep cycle. They can ask you which of the following falls in ultradian rhythm, or which of the following falls in circadian rhythm, or which of the following falls in infradian rhythm. So you should have a very good idea about this. As I told you, 1, Geroscience is making a lot of news, and 2, health and nutrition is making a lot of news. Hence, this is in news always. So I have seen that many nutritionists and many people are concentrating on how to generate a proper ultradian, circadian as well as infradian rhythm. So you should have a good idea about what this is. To give you just glimpse, ultradian rhythm is a cycle that is repeated throughout a 24-hour day. In a 24 hours, that cycle keeps repeating. For example, our heart rate. In 24 hours, it will keep beating. This repetitions within the 24 hours is known as ultradian rhythm. Okay. Infradian rhythm is cycles that are longer than 24 days. For example, menstrual cycle. This happens once every month. So approximately. So that anything that is above the 24 hours bracket is known as infradian rhythm. The next is circadian rhythm. Circadian rhythm is something that happens once every 24 hours. For example, our sleep cycle. We sleep once every day, and that is known as circadian rhythm. So understand what all comes under this rhythms. Again, it becomes very, very important. Okay. The next is brumation. There's a concept called brumation. Now understand, brumation is a type of physiological dormancy experienced by reptiles and amphibians during cold months. Okay, this is what is known as brumation. So you got to know what is the keyword. Now develop the examples. Develop examples of what are the reptiles and what are the amphibians that practice brumation. Okay, and what is aestivation, and how brumation and aestivation are different to hibernation. What are the animals that undertake hibernation? What are the animals that undertake aestivation? What are the animals that undertake this so-called brumation? So this is something that you should understand. Okay, so that is how you develop the depth for your prelims perspective. The last or the next concept is a concept called earthquake swarms. Now, earthquake swarms are something of a low seismic earthquakes that keep happening. So there is tremor that keeps happening, but the magnitude of the tremor is very, very less. Okay. Now, this is happening in Iceland. Believe it or not, on November 10, 2023, in a matter of just 14 hours, there was 800 earthquakes in Iceland. But these earthquakes are not the earthquakes that we see in the continental boundaries in Nepal or in Afghanistan. These are earthquakes that are very, very low magnitude earthquakes, and hence they are called earthquake swarms. So earthquake swarms are low magnitude, high frequency earthquakes. And in this last 1 year, Iceland has experienced more than 24,000 earthquake swarms. Okay. Now these earthquake swarms are something that have also resulted in volcanic eruptions, and it is attracting volcanic tourists. who are coming into Iceland. So you should have a very good idea about what these earthquake swarms are, why do they occur, how is it different from other earthquakes, and where all earthquake swarms happen, where all earthquakes have happened. So this is something that you should have an idea. Again, Afghanistan has been seeing earthquakes, so you should have a good idea why Afghanistan is having so much of earthquakes. This is again very important, so learn about this. The next topic is coral bleaching. Okay, coral bleaching is when the algae called zooxanthellae dies. This zooxanthellae dies, which gives color to the corals. So when the algae dies, the color goes away. It results in whitening of the corals. This whitening of the coral is known as coral bleaching. Okay, the reason why it is in news is because 4th global bleaching event is happening in 2024. Okay, it includes coral bleaching that are happening around 53 countries. Okay, hence it becomes very important. Now this 53 countries also include the Great Barrier Reef. Now the 4th global bleaching event is 2024. What were the other 3 that has happened? Now the other 3 that have happened is 1998, 2010, 2014 to 17. And this is the 4th that is in 2024. So these are the 4 important global bleaching events that has happened, and this is happening due to climate change. So you should know what is coral bleaching, what are the importance of corals, and you should also know the different coral distributions around the world. I also have an information about Great Barrier Reef and some international institutions and conventions that are there to protect and conserve corals. I have a very good idea about this. Okay, now corals is again a very favorite area of UPSC. There was a question on biorock technology. There are questions on coral islands. There are questions on phyla diversity of corals. So corals kept making a comeback in UPSC questions. So you should have a good idea and a good information about corals. So understand and develop a good depth about corals, coral islands, coral bleachings, importance of corals, institutions and agreements and conventions for preserving the corals. And Lakshadweep is in news. Lakshadweep is a coral island. So have a good information about Lakshadweep as well. Okay, so somehow I have linked the science to the Indian places, but anyways, that is how you have to develop the network. Okay, so these were some of the very important topics that are in news from science and technology. I hope that it was helpful. Please make very good use of it. Don't spend more than 15 to 20 minutes on a particular topic. Go to the Genuine website and write in your hand. Don't be lazy. Don't think that the topic is covered in some books, so let me not cover it. Please go and see the Genuine website and develop the depth, and only then you will have the factual information to deduce the answer in the exam. So I hope it was helpful. If it is helpful, guys, again a request is subscribe to Sudeep Was and share this channel with as many friends as you can, because that is the single motivation that keeps me going to give you such quality content. I'll see you again, guys. Until then, study hard, study well. Bye.